Colleagues, we now turn to the nomination from Turkey, Diyarbakir Fortress and Hevsel Gardens Cultural Landscape, Draft Decision 39-8B32. I turn to ICOMOS now to present this nomination, but a word from Mr. Balsamo before that.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to remind the committee, we received a factual error notification concerning the evaluation of this nomination, which is to be found on page 81 of the English version of INF 8B4 and page 86 of the French version. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Balsamo. ICOMOS, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The ICOMOS evaluation can be found on page 273 of document INF 8B1 English version, and in the French version is page 337. The fortified city and its associated landscape were an important center and regional capital during the Hellenistic, Roman, Sassanid, and Byzantine period, through the Islamic and Ottoman periods to the present. The nominated property include the impressive Diyarbakir city walls of 5,800 meters, with its many towers, gates, buttresses, and 63 inscriptions from different historical periods, and the Hevsel Gardens that link the city with the Tigris River and supplied the city with food and water. The city walls and the evidence of their damage, repair and reinforcement since the Roman period present a powerful physical and visual testimony of the many periods of the region's history. In terms of category of cultural property set out in Article 1 of the 1972 World Heritage Convention, this is a site, and is in terms of paragraph 47 of the operational guidelines, it is also a cultural landscape. The nominated property is located in the Diyarbakir province. On an escarpment in the upper Tigris River basin lies the nominated property of 520.76 hectares within the protection of a buffer zone of 1,421.90 hectares. The Diyarbakir Fortress and the Hevsel Gardens landscape is located in part of the region known as the Fertile Crescent, an area of many cultures and civilizations over time. Structures related to this long history and the different religions, societies, states, and governments still stand in the nominated property and its buffer zone. The city was laid out to satisfy the need of the local population in case of any attacks. The fortress assumed its current shape in the Roman period in the middle of the 14th century, and its location and 7,000 years of history have been closely related to its proximity to the Tigris River. There are 4 gates on 4 directions, lying on the ends of the 2 main arteries on the north, south, and east-west direction that intersect each other. The gates are Deg Gate on the north, Urfa Gate on the west, Mardin Gate on the south, and Yeni Gate on the east. Very special decorations and inscriptions on the fortress's gates and towers that are written in stone are among the best surviving examples of the Roman, Byzantine, Abbasid, and Marwanid eras. Due to the topography of the location, some sections of the city walls, such as the Yeni Gate, were not thick enough, and with time they became weak and suffered damages. Some of these damages were undoubtedly caused by neglect and removal of stones. The city walls, also known as the Outer Castle, have about 82 towers and buttresses in different sizes that support it. They have square, circular, and polygonal shapes. The Findik Tower, known as Tower 63, which was constructed during the reign of Seljuk, have an inscription on it to confirm this information. In addition to the city walls, there is an inner castle that also has 4 gates: Saray Gate, the Kupeli Gate, the Fethi Gate, and Ogrun Gate leading into the castle. The survival of the original iron door on Surrey Gate until today is an important achievement. While a substantial amount of the original elements of the inner castle and city walls remain, recent restoration work were not adequately documented. Foreign materials was introduced through restoration work on some parts of the fortification. However, there are instances where the restoration reused old material from the collapsed walls. In order to minimize further damages, there are controls put in place within and around the nominated property for the sustainability of the property. Recent work, which has been a source of debate, had been halted in order to reconsider the conservation planning and methods. ICOMOS considers that exceptional care and attention to detail is required, as the stones are an extraordinary witness to the history of this region. Though there is management of the property, it is not well coordinated with management of the buffer zone property. The Hevsel Gardens is made vulnerable by settlements and business establishments that divert water upstream. The bed of the Tigris River is today reduced because of the dams that divert water. Addressing this matter is important, especially taking into account the contribution of the hydraulic and agricultural systems to the history of the site. ICOMOS considers the conditions of integrity and authenticity to be adequate but could be improved, the comparative analysis to be good and criterion 4 to be met, while criterion 2 and 5 not met. ICOMOS also considers that boundaries are revised during evaluation to be appropriate. The protection is not adequate and the conservation and management systems to be adequate but could be improved. ICOMOS recommends that the nomination of Diyarbakir Fortress and Hevsel Gardens Cultural Landscape Turkey be referred back to the state party, and the rest of the decision is on the screen and is on page 281 in the English document. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ICOMOS. The floor is now open for comments. Japan, you have the floor. India, thereafter.